Hi, I'm Ann, and welcome to the first episode of Fashion Report. Here I'll be discussing how fashionable the city of Philadelphia is. Let's start off with some knowledge about the fashion in 1880. Both men and women wore clothes that would cover the body from head to toe, leaving the hands and face visible. Yes, I'm pretty sure you know what they used to wear looks like, but let's go a little bit in depth into their everyday clothes. Men wore a dress shirt under a vest and a coat. The ensemble would be complemented with shoes and pants, along with a top hat and cane. And when it got colder outside, they would just throw on a trench coat over everything to keep them warm. Women, on the other hand, would wear layers upon layers underneath their dresses. First, they would put on the chemises, which was a thin layer of fabric used to cover the body just in case their dresses came up. Over the chemises, they would wear a wired shape like cage to make their waist smaller and gave the dress some body and shape. Then, women would put on their dresses or shirts and skirts on under a very tightly cinched corset or a waist trainer, they call it nowadays. The accessories they would wear would be kitten heels, a hat, and if they could afford it, jewelry. In the 20th century, the clothes were basically the same. It wasn't until the 1930s where new trends started to happen. The clothes became more casual and the dresses became thinner, shorter, and more trendy to its time, like the disco and hippie era. Let's take a break, and when I come back, let's discuss today's fashion. Welcome back to Fashion Report, and if you forgot, I'm Ann. Okay, now let's talk about Philly Fashion Week, one of the many important events that take place here in Philadelphia. PFW, or Philly Fashion Week, was founded by Carrie Scott and Kevin Parker, who also founded the FBH agency. I want to say about 9 years ago they started doing this show. It was a great way to help aspiring designers to show their amazing designs and help the FBH agency models out. Ever since then, this has been a calling for several fashionistas all over Philadelphia around the fall and springtime to strut their stuff. Philly Fashion Week is a great way for designers and models to show off their talent to a big audience. This show contains clothes made and designed by many people around the world, and the clothes are presented on models that belong to the FBH agency. You would think that Philly Fashion Week would be a very talked about event, but surprisingly, it's not. To be honest, I haven't heard of Philly Fashion Week until I Googled it for this podcast, but I'm glad I did. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't an amateur show. It's a fast-paced show known with designers from all around the world and from Philadelphia. Say you wanted to go to New York Fashion Week but couldn't afford tickets or didn't get them in time. Philly Fashion Week is a great alternative. You would be able to get a glimpse into the fashion world here in the city of Philadelphia. I didn't get a chance to go to the show personally. I did a little bit of research. In the same article Emily wrote, she gets quotes from people that were already on the show and already at the show, not on the show, at the show. And one that stuck out to me was a quote said by Stanford, and it said, "When I leave tonight, I'm already planning for next year." This means that the show was really good and it had people wanting more. In other articles, writers have perfected the way to Fashion Week. I read about how to get tickets at the right time, when to show up to the venue, to beat the traffic, and so much more. Philly Fashion Week has an article written by a social media person, Christina Jenkins. Christina states that in her blog she loves Philly Fashion Week, and she's glad that the show has made it to its 10th season on the runway. Now to the good part of the show, the fashion part of the show. The show had amazing designers last year and really set high expectations for this year. Something that makes Philly Fashion Week different from New York's Fashion Week is the variety of the lines, from streetwear to high-class ball dresses. The pieces of clothing were a mix of today's fashion and the past fashion. The big gowns were very similar to the dresses that were worn in the 1800s, but it's more modern to today's time and the trends that happened in the 21st century. As for male fashion, it stayed the same. Basically, they've been wearing suits and sweaters. Something that has been making its comeback to 2015-2016 is the varsity jacket that has patches on it. The styles of all the clothing is where chic meets business and casual wear. If you head over to the official website for Philly Fashion Week, www.phillyfashionweek.org, you will get a taste of what you'll see this year and all the information on Philly Fashion Week itself. We're bringing the 90s back. Fashion today is highly influenced by the 1990s, and we're bringing back the 90s. Fashion today is highly influenced by the late 1900s. In the streets, you'll see boys, girls, men, women, anyone. Basically, you'll spot someone wearing jelly shoes, a choker, crop tops, tube shirts, and so much more. 90s fashion has got to be one of the most iconic eras in fashion. 25 years later, the trends are still rocking the streets and probably won't die off for another year or two, at the least. Shout out to the founders of Philly Fashion Week and all of the models and designers that have participated in the shows to make Philly Fashion Week happen. Maybe I'll see you in my next podcast. I'm Anne, and this has been the first episode of Fashion Report. See you next time.